So next we will see what is the function of processor. So what is the function of processor means, as I said here, whenever this input is activated, whenever 24 volt is given, internally that isolation barrier will give 5 volt to the processor. So after that 5 volt is received from the processor will check from which terminal that 5 volt is received. So it will scan that input. It will check from which terminal it is received. It will scan or it will check the input, that is from which terminal that 5 volt is received. So what will happen is it will be, after checking it, for example from first terminal or from second terminal, from third terminal, like that it is received, means based on that only we will be doing the program. Based on this, for example, if first terminal is activated, I have to activate some output, means based on that we will be doing the program. So what will happen after receiving this from the input, the processor will directly scan the input and it will go and execute the program. It will execute the program. So while executing the program, based on the program, for example, if in the program I have mentioned like if first input is activated, second output should be on, like that if I did, means what will happen, it will check whether first input is activated. So if first input is activated, automatically what will happen, it will execute the program, and according to that which output should be activated, the second output should be activated based on my program. So what will happen, according to that it will go and update the output. Update the output in the sense, based on the program it will check which output should be activated, and in that output terminal it will give that 5 volt. So what will happen if 5 volt is given, for example according to my program, if first input is activated, second output should be activated, means in the first input what will happen, the 24 volt will be received, internally it is converted to 5 and given to processor will check it, and according to that it will execute the program and it will update the output in the sense it will give 5 volt in this particular terminal. If it is given here, this isolation barrier will be converting that to 24 volt and it will be automatically given in this terminal. Like this it will continuously, or it will be happening in a cyclic manner, that is it will happen in a routine cycle. So this cycle is called as scan cycle. This cycle is called as a scan cycle. And for one cycle, for one particular cycle, it will take some time, and that time is only called as scan time. Scan time is nothing but the time taken to complete one complete cycle. One full cycle is nothing but this complete cycle is only one full cycle. The time taken to complete this only is called as scan time, and this cycle is called as scan cycle. And this scan time will be based on the isolation barrier arrangement. If it is relay based or transistor based, as I mentioned earlier, if it is transistor based, it will be much faster. If it is relay based, what will happen compared to transistor based, it will be little bit slower. So based on the isolation barrier type, this scan time also will be changing. So this is the function of processor. So next is memory. So next is memory. In memory, we have two different types. One is program memory and another one is data memory. Generally, in program memory, what will happen? The program what we have did in the PLC, that will be stored in program memory. And in the programs, we will be having some input and output. Whether the input is on or whether the input is off, like that. Input and output status and all will be getting stored in data memory. So programs will be stored and it will be executed in program memory. Data will be getting stored in data memory. It will be updated in data memory. In data memory only, the input and output status will be available. If we want to know the status of that data memory, we have to access that particular data memory's address only. So in program memory, program storage and program execution will be taken place in program memory. In data memory, what will happen? Data storage will be happening. Input and output data will be stored. So this is the function of memory. So all these things, this input terminal, processor, CPU, memory, all these things will be and that isolation barrier, all these things will be working together and that will be controlled by this processor only. So the communication between, for example, we have a system or PC or your laptop. From that, you are doing the program means that communication of that laptop with the PLC will be carried out through this communication port with the help of this processor only. And all the input and output status and the problem which is raised with the input and output, everything will be taken care by this processor CPU only. Next is communication port. So what is the use of this communication port means? First main thing, to upload and download the program from programming device. Programming device is nothing but the PC what we have or our laptop. So from that we are doing the program means generally for communicating that PC or laptop with the PLC, this communication port will be used. So what is this uploading and what is this downloading means? Downloading in the sense transferring the program from Transferring the program from PC to PLC is called as downloading, and transferring the program from PLC to PC for modifications and all, so that will be called as transferring from PLC to PC is called as uploading. So this is the difference between uploading and downloading. So the first reason for communication port is this only. After that, if you have some more communication ports, what we can do is we can communicate that with, that is, we can communicate the PLC with some more devices. To communicate the PLC with other devices, like for example, if you want to communicate the PLC with HMI, third party SCADA. Next, for example, if you want to communicate with VFD, DCS, if you want to communicate with other PLCs also, we can use. Next, GSM, if you want to communicate with the GSM modem also, we will be using this communication port only. So most commonly used communication ports, most commonly what are all the ports available in PLC means we will be having a port which has 9 pins, like it will be like this. You might have seen the port will be like this. Like this it will be. So mostly this will be called as DB. DB. If it has 9 terminals, it will be called as DB9. Next we have DB15 with 15 terminals. Next DB25 is also there in some PLCs, it will be available. Next we have round type connectors also, like this it will be, and here internally that pin arrangement will be there. So this will be called as DIN type or round type. This is DB type and this is DIN type. Here also DIN9, like that different things will be there. And what is the protocol? What is the communication standards used here means mostly serial communication. For that they will be using RS-232, RS-485, like this mostly they will be using. In some cases they will be using USB. USB port also will be there. In some cases they will be using Ethernet. So like this, different options are there. Next we have, these are all the common communication ports which are all used in PLC, but other than this we have different other communication protocols also, like Profibus, Profinet, HART, field bus, foundation field bus, like that different communication protocols are also available. So that are all high level communication standards. So that's all about architecture of PLC. So this is how each and every component of the PLC will be functioning. Next, we are going to discuss about types of PLC based on input and output expansion. Based on input-output expansion, we have 3 different types of PLCs. One is fixed type PLC, second one is modular type PLC, and the third one is rack type PLC, fixed type, modular type, and rack type PLC. So what is fixed type PLC means? In that fixed type PLC, the input and outputs are fixed. That's all. It will have only limited number of inputs and outputs. In future, if you want to increase the number of inputs and outputs, you cannot do it if you buy a fixed type PLC. So in modular and rack type PLC, that is possible. Input and outputs can be expanded. So that in modular and rack type PLC, expansion port will be available. So using that expansion port, what we can do is we can increase the number of inputs and outputs. So how that modular type PLC will be available means, I'll show you the picture. So generally these are all rack type PLC. Rack type PLC in the sense, see, this is power supply, this is CPU, next you have input, output, like that. We can increase it. It is like a rack. So different segments will be there. We can remove the segments separately, and that segments are placed in a base plate. At the back side, there is a base plate. In that base plate only, they are fixing all these things. I'll show you that. So this is only that base plate. Now nothing is connected here. Sorry, this is arranged only. Yes, this is the base plate. See, at the back side there is a base plate. In this only they will fix each and every module, and the modules, see, in this only they will fix it, and it will be appearing like this after fixing. This back side, see at the top also you can see that is only the base plate, this one. In this enclosure only they will connect each and every module. So this is rack type PLC. This is the base plate. In that they will connect modules like this. Modules will be available separately like this. So for input, output, separately all the modules will be available. But in case if it is a modular type PLC, what will happen is it will be like this. It will be separately a module. All input, output, everything will be available in the PLC itself. After that, what will happen? If you want to increase it, you can increase like this. This is the PLC. In PLC itself, you have some inputs and outputs. Everything will be here itself. But in rack type, what will happen is everything will be separate. Like power supply will be separate. It can be separately removed. CPU will be separate. That can be separately removed. Input, output, that can be separately removed here from the base plate. It is just attached in the base plate. But here in module, everything will be separate. Like modules will be available first. First is the main module, that is PLC module. That PLC module contains input, output, power supply, everything will be available here itself. After that, you will have that expansion port here. From that, you can connect that expansion IO units. So this is called as expansion unit. So this is how modular and rack type will be available. Mostly what is the advantage in rack type means, if for example, this is rack type, if this module is not working, it will not affect the other modules. All the other will be working properly. Only whichever module is not working, only that will be stopped working. We can replace it with another module. But in modular type, what will happen? For example, if this module stops working, it is connected in series. So all the other modules also will be not working. So that is the drawback what you have in modular type PLC. So mostly in most critical process and all, they will be using modular type they will be using rack type PLC only. A modular type will be used in some smaller type, small scale industries like that, when the inputs and outputs are very limited. At that stage only, they will be using that modular type PLC and all. So that's all about PLC. So this is how the internal architecture of PLC will be available.